The second half of the spring semester is made up of one major final research paper, which is the Researched Persuasive Argument, or RPA. There are two assignments that are submitted to the college course in the second half of the spring semester. The RPA is the final assignment that students submit, and it is preceded by the annotated bibliography. But in reality, the annotated bibliography is just a strategic stopping point in the student's creation of their final research paper. The annotated bibliography is a time when students can pause their work, submit the sources that they have found for their researched persuasive essay, and get some feedback about how they're doing in the process. This is very similar to what you might do in your high school classroom to check in when students are working on large research papers or other major projects, just to make sure that they are keeping pace with their calendars and to give them some feedback on where they are in their research process, citations, summaries, plans for their final paper, etc. So while the annotated bibliography does appear first in the assignments and in the gradebook, it actually is part of the larger whole, which means that within the classroom, you should first be introducing the essay that the students are going to be writing using those sources so that they have some direction and some idea of the major or holistic purpose of these two pieces together. That will help guide their research process in the annotated bibliography and just help them with their mental comprehension of what these two assignments actually are. An annotated bibliography is a collection of sources. It has a complete works cited citation for each of the sources. It identifies the genre from which that source comes, and it also identifies a forward moving plan based on a summary of that source. So, when tackling the annotated bibliography, a student does need to have a basic grasp of what they plan to do with their final argument. They will be finding a controversy, a pre-existing controversy that exists under that umbrella in American society, and they will be posing their own argument about that based on the research that they have been conducting all spring long. So, with that in mind, they will tackle the annotated bibliography. It can be a good idea to demonstrate to students what an annotated bibliography looks like so that they can visualize what it is that they will be creating. This is also a piece that has a lot of different requirements, a lot of small points that are necessary for them to all come together into a complete annotated bibliography with all of the necessary citations and summaries and labels with the head note up at the top. In order to make sure that all those pieces are connected, teachers will often use checklists or other graphic organizers to help students keep a clear idea of all of the information that they need, all of those different components, and checking them off as they complete them can be a really good strategy for making sure that they've covered everything they need to in the annotated bibliography. Before they get there, it might be a good idea to actually look at what an annotated bibliography looks like. I am looking at Instructor HQ, your teacher view, in the college course materials assignment resources, because this is where I find the calibrations. The calibrations are used for students to be able to look at a sample student work and to score it. So this is to help them with thinking about the rubric overall. It's a good activity for them to do in the end stages of editing before they submit something. But there is a tool that you can use here strategically, which is the sample assignment that is used for the students to analyze and score in this exercise. So when I click on the sample essay for the annotated bibliography, I can see a sample completed annotated bibliography. Keep in mind, these are not exemplars. They are not flawless, and students should not be copying these in any way. But it does give them an idea of what this assignment looks like when it's laid out on the page, which can be very useful for visualizing what it is that I need to create in order to satisfy this assignment. So you notice the head note appears at the top. It is much like an introductory paragraph, but it will be written last after all of the resources are found and summarized. And then it jumps after that head note right into annotation one, which explains which type of genre or annotation this is covering. So this is the first editorial ally, the first editorial that agrees with the student's position. And then the citations are just in alphabetical order. So annotation 1 is just the first citation in alphabetical order, the same way that students would order in their works cited page. They would put all of their citations in alphabetical order. They will also be in alphabetical order here on the annotated bib. And then they're just following it with the summary, and they're labeling it. This is number 1 because it comes first in my sequence, and this is the type of genre that it is. So they will repeat that pattern of annotation number, type of genre of the document that they are citing, the complete works cited citation, and then the summary underneath. And they do that over and over until they reach all 6 required annotations. This is how they put it together on the actual final document that they will be submitting. It is very common for students to create this information or to build it in a graphic organizer or using a checklist before transferring it into this final document to help them with organization and labeling and making sure that they have all of the component parts that they need. But this is a very useful tool for demonstrating to students what it is that they are building and essentially what this will look like when it all comes together before they submit it to the university. So taking some time to go through this, or even annotating it together in class, might be a useful exercise for students to visualize the different components and the layout of the annotated bibliography, as it is a little different and more complex than some of the assignments that have been completed in this course thus far.